It's slope of the line. Now, the slope of a line just refers to the steepness of a line, how steep a line is. And you can look at it in two different ways. If you want to, the slope of the line is the steepness of a line, and it's kind of represented by a number. So we say, oh, the slope of the line might be 5, or it might be -2, or it might be a fraction even. And if the line is like this line here, A to B, and it's going up from left to right, see the way this is going up, the slope of this line will be a positive number, and the slope of this line is going down. It's from left to right, it's going down. So the slope of this line would be a negative number. Now in maths we use a letter to represent slope, and that letter is m. So the slope of this line would be positive, and the slope of this line would be negative. Now you can calculate the slope in two different ways. You can use the slope formula, which is y is equal to, or m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this formula is provided to you in the logbooks, so you don't have to memorize it. Another way to look at it is m, which is the slope, is equal to rise over run. Now, what I mean by rise is vertical rise, okay? What I mean by run is horizontal run. So if I change the color of this, one sec, and we have a look here, and if I draw a line just down there, just down like that, okay? Now, how far up is the rise from A to B? Well, if we look at A is at 1 on the y-axis, and B is at 7. So the difference between 1 and 7 minus 1 is 6. And we can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the rise is 6. And then if we look at the run, the horizontal run, I'm doing this very roughly, from A to B, okay? We go from 1 on the x-axis, so for the horizontal we use the x-axis, so we go from 1 to 7. So again, it's 6, okay? The difference between 1 and 7 is 6, so we can count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we have figured out what the rise is and what the run is. So what we can actually do here is we can say m is equal to rise, which is 6, over run, which is 6. So 6 over 6 is equal to 1. 6 divided by 6 is equal to 1. So the slope of this line here on the left is 1. And it's a positive number because it's going up. Now, this is the easiest way to do it, especially if you have the line drawn out like this. And you might be saying to yourself, why would I want to use the formula? Well, if you don't have a graph like this and you are just given the coordinates, let's say the coordinates for A, well, they are 1 and 1. A is at 1 and 1. And then B is at 7 and 7. B is equal to 7 and 7. Now, imagine we don't have this drawing here on the left hand side, and you're just given these coordinates here. Rather than draw it all out, you can use the formula. You can put these coordinates into the formula, calculate it, and we should get the same answer. So let's label our coordinates first. So remember, it's x and y, and this is the first set of coordinates, so it's x1, y1, and this is the second set of coordinates, so it's x2, y2. So let's put it into the formula. M is equal to y2 minus y1. y2 is 7, minus y1, which is 1. And then we have x2 minus x1. x2 is 7 again, minus 1. So m is equal to 6 over 6, just like before. M is equal to 1. So we got the same answer, but here we calculated it by looking and counting the distance by looking at the graph, and here we use the formula. Now we're going to look at a different one on the left hand side. Okay, now we're going to find the slope of FG, this line FG. And we're going to do it both ways. We're going to use the formula, which is, as I said before, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we'll also use rise over run. M is equal to, M is equal to. So let's do the formula first. So let's write out the coordinates. So we'll do f first. F is at minus 5 on the x-axis and minus 2 on the y-axis. So f is equal to minus 5 and minus 2. And G is at 2 on the x-axis and minus 6. 2 and minus 6. So we'll label our coordinates again. X and y, and this is the first set, and this is the second set. Now we just put these into our formula. So y2 is minus 6. Minus from the formula, and what is y1? Y1 is a minus 2, so we have to be careful here because we're putting in a negative number. So I put it in brackets like that, and I'll deal with that in a second. And then here we have x2 minus x1. x2 is 2, and it's a minus from the formula. I'm getting this minus from the formula here, and I'm putting in a minus number. I'm putting in minus 5. Now let's deal with these integers here, these negative numbers. So this minus is multiplied by this minus, so that will become a plus, and this minus is multiplied by this minus, so that will become a plus. Okay, so minus 6 plus 2. Minus 6 plus 2 is minus 4. And then we have 2 plus 5. So 2 plus 5 is 7. Now, this is actually going to give us a fraction because we can't divide 7 into 4 equally. So we leave it as a fraction. Now it's a minus number on top, so it's going to be minus slope minus 4 over 7. And we can see that this slope here, there's two things about it that are different from the other slope. This slope here is shallower, it's not as steep, and that's why the number, which is 4/7, is smaller than the slope of this line. The slope of this line, remember, was m is equal to 1. Okay, so 1 is a greater number than 4 over 7, isn't it? 4 over 7. 7 over 7 would be 1, but 4/7 is less than 1. So it's a smaller number, so the slope of the line is less steep. It's a shallower line. And it's a negative number because it drops down from the left to the right. This one goes up from the left to the right. This one drops down from the left to the right. So we have done that using the formula. Let's have a look now at the rise and the run. Okay, so the rise here, there it is there. Now, what's the difference between minus 2 and minus 6? Minus 2 and minus 6? It's minus 4. So it's dropping down from F to G. It's dropping down minus 4. And then what's the run? The run is horizontal. And we are going from minus 5 up to 2. So the difference between minus 5 and 2 is 7. So our rise is equal to our rise. What's our rise? It's -4. It's dropping down by 4, so it's -4. And then our run is 7. So m is equal to -4/7. Same answer. So if it's drawn out like this, it's definitely easier to use rise over run. If we don't have it drawn out and we just have the coordinates and we want to do it quickly, we should use the formula. But be careful of slopes that are negative. If the line is dropping down like this, it's negative. If the line is going up like this, it's positive.